What if I told you that some of the most powerful structures ever built by human hands are quietly entering the most dangerous phase of their entire existence? Not because they were built badly, not because the engineers who designed them made careless mistakes, but because the world around them has fundamentally changed, and many of them were never designed for the world we are living in now. We are talking about mega dams, structures so massive they can be seen from orbit, walls of concrete and earth holding back entire inland seas. They generate electricity for tens of millions of people, irrigate farmland that feeds entire nations, and protect downstream cities from floods that would otherwise be catastrophic. They feel permanent. They feel invincible, and for decades they largely were. But here is the terrifying part. Right now, across every continent on Earth, hundreds of mega dams are being quietly stressed in ways their original designers never anticipated. And the combination of forces working against them is unlike anything the dam engineering world has ever faced before. It is not one problem. It is 5 or 6 problems arriving at the same time, amplifying each other, converging on structures that cannot be simply switched off or easily fixed. This is not a story about bad engineering. This is a story about what happens when the assumptions that held an engineering marvel together start to quietly fall apart, one by one, while hundreds of thousands of people sleep downstream. Let us start at the beginning, because to understand why mega dams are becoming more dangerous, you first need to understand how they were designed and what assumptions were baked into their foundations from the very first day of construction. When engineers plan a major dam, they do not simply pour concrete and hope for the best. The design process is extraordinarily detailed. Teams of hydrologists spend years studying the river, collecting rainfall data, measuring flood peaks, analyzing historical storm records going back decades or even centuries. From all of that data, they calculate something called the probable maximum flood. This is the theoretical largest flood that engineers believe could ever realistically occur at that location, given every extreme condition they can model. The dam and its spillway system must be able to survive this flood, even if only barely. The spillway is one of the most critical components in the entire structure. Think of it as a controlled overflow valve. When water in the reservoir rises dangerously high, the spillway channels excess water safely away, releasing it downstream in a controlled fashion before the dam can be overwhelmed. The size, capacity, and structural integrity of the spillway are not afterthoughts. They are often the difference between a dam that survives a catastrophic storm and a dam that fails. The concrete itself is engineered with enormous precision. The thickness of the dam wall, the curvature if it is an arch dam, the depth of its foundations into bedrock, the drainage systems built into the structure to relieve internal pressure, the steel reinforcement running through the interior like a skeleton. All of this is calculated to handle billions of tons of water pressing against it, year after year, for a structure designed to last a century or more. And for a long time, these designs worked beautifully. But now comes the hidden problem. The rainfall data those original engineers used to calculate the probable maximum flood was drawn from historical records, records collected in a different climate era, a time when the atmosphere held less energy, when storm systems behaved in patterns that had remained relatively consistent for generations. The engineers were not being careless. They were using the best data available to them. The problem is that the data no longer describes the world we are living in. A warmer atmosphere holds more water vapor. More water vapor means more intense rainfall events. Storms that historical models once suggested were 500-year events or 1,000-year events are now arriving far more frequently, not everywhere at once, but with enough regularity that meteorologists, hydrologists, and dam safety engineers are beginning to use a phrase that should make everyone pay attention. The design storm is no longer safe. That phrase means something profound. It means that the flood event a dam was specifically designed to survive may now underestimate what nature can actually deliver. A dam built 60 years ago, calculated to handle the absolute maximum storm its engineers could scientifically justify at the time, may now be sitting in a river basin, where storms larger than that design limit are becoming plausible within a single generation. This is where it gets dangerous. When an extreme rainfall event hits a large river basin, the water does not arrive at the reservoir slowly. It surges in from hundreds of tributaries simultaneously. In the worst scenarios, a reservoir that engineers expected to have days of warning before it reached critical levels can instead rise meters in a matter of hours. Gate operators and engineers scramble to release water through the spillway as fast as the system will allow. But if the inflow is exceeding the spillway's design capacity, there is no good solution. The water level keeps rising, and if it reaches the crest of the dam, what happens next is not a controlled release. It is an overtopping event. Overtopping is one of the most feared failure modes in dam engineering. When water flows over the top of a dam, it does not simply spill harmlessly into the valley below. It attacks the downstream face of the dam with enormous erosive force. Within hours, sometimes within minutes for earthen dams, the structure can begin to fail from the outside. Not from internal pressure, not from foundation failure, from water pouring over the top and tearing the dam apart from behind.
I'm standing at the base of the main spillway here, and the scale of this is something photographs simply don't prepare you for. These gates are multiple stories tall, and right now, with reservoir levels elevated after last week's rainfall, the engineering team is monitoring inflow rates continuously. You can feel a low vibration through the concrete just standing here. The watermark on the canyon wall behind me shows where the reservoir reached during the last major storm cycle. And it is uncomfortably close to the design limit that was set when this structure was originally commissioned.
So what is the engineering world actually doing about this? Because despite everything we have discussed, this is not a story without solutions. Engineers, dam safety regulators, hydrologists, and climate scientists are developing a range of tools, technologies, and approaches to reduce the risk that aging megadams pose to the populations they serve. The question is whether those solutions can be implemented fast enough, at large enough scale, and with sufficient funding to stay ahead of the threat. One of the most direct responses to the climate challenge is the systematic re-evaluation of spillway capacity. Regulators in several countries have ordered dam operators to recalculate their probable maximum flood estimates using updated climate data rather than historical records alone. In many cases, these recalculations have revealed that existing spillways were designed for a flood estimate that modern climate science considers too conservative. In response, some dams have been retrofitted with larger spillways, additional auxiliary spillway channels, or fuse plug systems, engineered earth sections that are intentionally designed to fail in a controlled and predictable way at a specific water level, channeling excess water away from the main structure in a manageable flood rather than an uncontrolled catastrophe. Real-time sensor networks are another rapidly advancing tool. Modern dam monitoring systems can embed hundreds of sensors throughout a dam structure, continuously measuring water pressure inside the concrete, measuring seepage flow rates, detecting micro-movements in the dam's foundation, and transmitting all of that data in real time to control centers, where engineers can detect warning signs far earlier than was possible with manual inspection schedules. Satellite-based radar interferometry can now detect millimeter-scale movements in dam structures from orbit, providing a monitoring capability that would have seemed like science fiction to the engineers who built the structures now being watched. For the sediment problem, engineers have developed sediment flushing operations, in which reservoir water levels are deliberately drawn down, and high-velocity flows through low-level outlets are used to suspend and flush accumulated sediment downstream. This is technically effective but operationally complex, requiring careful planning to avoid sending damaging sediment pulses into downstream rivers and ecosystems. Sediment bypass tunnels installed in some newer or recently upgraded dams route incoming sediment-laden river water directly through the dam structure and out the other side, never allowing the sediment to settle in the reservoir in the first place. Pre-storm reservoir management is becoming a standard tool in well-managed dam systems, particularly in regions where weather forecasting has improved sufficiently to give dam operators meaningful advance warning of major rainfall events. By deliberately lowering reservoir levels before a forecast storm arrives, operators can create additional flood storage capacity that reduces peak reservoir levels during the event, buying time and reducing the likelihood of emergency releases or overtopping. This sounds straightforward, but it requires extraordinary judgment. Lower the reservoir too aggressively before a storm that turns out to be smaller than forecast, and you waste the stored water resource you were trying to protect. Fail to lower it enough before a storm that is larger than forecast, and the consequences are severe. And in some cases, the answer is the most difficult one of all: controlled decommissioning and removal. For dams where the combination of age, structural condition, sediment accumulation, downstream risk, and outdated design has made continued operation untenable, removal is sometimes the most rational choice. The United States has removed hundreds of smaller dams in recent decades, restoring river ecosystems and eliminating structural risk simultaneously. But for mega dams, removal is an almost impossibly complex proposition. The electrical generation, water supply, and flood control functions they perform are often so deeply embedded in regional infrastructure and national economies that removing them would create new crises to replace the ones being solved. This is the difficult truth that the dam engineering community lives with every day. Megadams are not simply concrete structures. They are infrastructure nodes in systems of extraordinary complexity. A single large dam may simultaneously provide drinking water to a major city, generate a significant percentage of a nation's electricity, regulate water supply to millions of hectares of agricultural land, and protect downstream communities from seasonal flooding. These functions are not independent of each other. They are interlocked. Changing one changes all the others. Lowering a reservoir to create flood storage space means generating less electricity for weeks before a storm arrives. Flushing sediment means sending a pulse of turbid, sediment-heavy water into a downstream river at exactly the moment when farmers and municipalities are drawing from it. Upgrading a spillway may require years of partial dam operation at reduced capacity while construction proceeds. Every solution to the safety problem carries costs measured in economic disruption, energy security, and water resource availability. This is why the future of megadams is not a simple engineering problem. It is a civilizational problem. It sits at the intersection of climate science, structural engineering, hydrology, emergency management, economics, and political will. And the pace at which all of those systems need to adapt is accelerating, driven by a climate that is changing faster than many of the models originally used to assess these risks predicted it would. There are more than 50,000 large dams in the world today. Many of them were built between the 1940s and the 1970s, which means they are now between 50 and 80 years old. They were designed for service lives of approximately 100 years, which means that many of them are approaching the latter half of their design life at exactly the moment when the climate pressures on their design assumptions are becoming most severe. The engineers building those dams in the middle of the 20th century were remarkable. They moved mountains, redirected rivers, and created structures that powered the industrialization of entire continents. They used the best science, the best data, and the best analytical tools available to them. They could not have known what the atmosphere would look like 80 years later. They could not have predicted that the cities below their dams would grow tenfold. They could not have modeled the specific intensity of storms that are now arriving in river basins around the world. But we know. We have the data. We have the satellite imagery showing glaciers retreating and glacial lakes swelling. We have the atmospheric measurements showing higher moisture content. We have the rainfall records being broken at stations around the world with increasing frequency. We have the reservoir capacity surveys showing how much storage has been lost to sediment accumulation. We have the structural assessments identifying aging spillways, deteriorating concrete, and corroding reinforcement steel. The question is not whether the information exists. The question is whether the institutions responsible for the safety of these structures, the dam owners, the regulatory agencies, the national governments, the international development banks that financed construction, are moving fast enough and investing heavily enough to close the gap between the world these dams were designed for and the world they are actually facing.
Standing at the downstream toe of this dam today, with the reservoir at elevated levels, and a new weather system forecast to arrive later this week, there is something the engineering team said that I keep thinking about. They said that managing this structure now feels fundamentally different from what it felt like 20 years ago. The storms are less predictable. The rainfall intensities are harder to model in advance. And the margin between a managed situation and a crisis feels narrower than it used to.